The dusty street was quiet that morning, the kind of silence that seemed to hold its breath. But at the corner of the road, a small figure appeared, swaying unsteadily as the weight of the world seemed to press down on her tiny shoulders. She was clutching the handlebars of a worn, rusty bicycle that had seen better days, her knuckles white, her eyes wide and desperate. "Buy my bike, sir, Mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days," she called out, her voice breaking, carrying a fragility that tore at the heart. In that moment, anyone who passed by couldn't help but pause, because in her plea, there was more than a child asking for money, there was a story of hardship, of loss, and of relentless courage. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small acts to change lives, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Stories like this deserve to reach every heart. She wasn't just selling a bike, she was trying to save her mother, who lay inside a crumbling, rented room nearby. Her mother's eyes had been hollow, her hands trembling over a bowl that remained empty for 2 days. The landlord had taken what little they owned, the bills were piling, and the neighbors had stopped helping, tired of empty promises and the constant struggle. The child, no older than 8, had learned to carry the unbearable weight of survival on her tiny shoulders. That morning, the streets were her battlefield, and the bicycle, her only hope. The sound of roaring engines cut through the air, and a group of bikers slowed down near her. These were not ordinary men, they were members of a club known more for their reputation than for their compassion. Leather jackets, tattoos, and a hardened look marked them as untouchables. Yet, even the roughest hearts can feel the tug of innocence. The little girl's words pierced the armor they had built over the years. They could see the fear, the desperation, and the courage all at once, and something stirred deep inside each of them. Her voice cracked again as she tried to hold back tears. "Please, just buy my bike, Mommy is so hungry." One of the bikers dismounted, a large man whose name was Raj, known among the group as the silent enforcer. He bent down to her level, and for a moment, the world seemed to shrink around them. He could see the dirt under her nails, the frayed edges of her school uniform, and the hopelessness in her eyes. Something about the way she fought to stay standing, despite everything, ignited a spark in him. He exchanged glances with his friends, and in that instant, unspoken words passed between them. This was no ordinary child. She was a beacon of survival, a tiny warrior in a world that had treated her and her mother unfairly. The decision was silent but unanimous, they would help. But first, they needed to know the full story. The little girl hesitated, unsure whether she could trust these strangers. But the kindness in Raja's eyes was palpable, a gentle promise in a hardened world. She led them through narrow lanes and past shuttered shops to a small, dilapidated building at the end of the street. Inside, the room smelled of damp and old bread. Her mother lay on a thin mattress, pale and weak, a hand resting on her stomach as if holding herself together. The scene was devastating, and the bikers, for the first time in a long time, felt helpless. But this helplessness soon transformed into determination. As she explained how they had lost everything, her father had abandoned them, the landlord had taken the last of their belongings for unpaid rent, and even their neighbors had turned away, the bikers realized the enormity of what she had endured. Every hardship the mother had faced, the child had witnessed and carried with her, yet here she was, standing in front of them, now spoke with confidence, her voice carrying a message of gratitude and the promise to give back, to help others the way she had been helped. There was a quiet evening when the child rode her bicycle past the same street corner where she had first called out for help. The bikers watched from a distance, their hearts swelling with pride. They had entered her life like a storm, bringing change, protection, and love. But the real change had been in all of them as well. The hardened hearts had softened, the rough exteriors had cracked to reveal empathy, and the realization had set in that small acts of courage and kindness could ripple through lives, creating waves of transformation. Life continued, but with a renewed rhythm. The mother found odd jobs, slowly regaining independence, while the little girl thrived in school, excelling not just academically but as a beacon of hope in her neighborhood. The bikers, who had once been outsiders, were now celebrated members of this small community. They were living proof that even those judged by appearances, those marked by a reputation of toughness, could choose compassion over cruelty. As the story draws to a close, we are reminded of the power of one voice, one plea, one act of courage. The little girl's words, "By my bike, sir, Mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days," echo far beyond that street corner. They reach every heart willing to listen, every soul willing to act. And they remind us all that kindness, empathy, and courage are never wasted. They are the forces that rebuild lives, heal wounds, and restore faith in humanity. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the good still possible in the world, please engage with this video, like, comment, and share. Let's spread hope together. Before we end, I have a special request: leave a comment about what kindness has changed your life or someone else's. Stories like these thrive when shared and celebrated.